Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Anime Lounge Podcast. I'm your host, Matt, alongside with my other host, Lance. As always, we like to start with an adult beverage of choice, and what seems to kind of be a pattern we've been going with, because we keep trying new things, we are having the same thing, so it's going to be real quick on this one. We are going to be drinking some Green River Kentucky Bourbon. I'd say pretty good. Haven't had this before.
Yeah, I feel like this was a nice, easy choice.
Yep, only 90 proof, so not too much burn.
No, yeah. And nice, tasty. It goes down real smooth.
Absolutely. And then, as a Wisconsin staple / this pod staple, we are having some Spotted Cow.
Yep.
Lance, you want to give us that synopsis for us?
Yeah, so, like the title suggests, we are going to be covering Jobless Reincarnation, Season 2, Cour 2. And if you're listening to this, everybody already knows what's going on, so I think it might just be easier to highlight some of the moments that happen in here that might separate Cour 1 and Cour 2, and let everyone remember exactly what kind of information we're going to be talking with. So, we are going to be talking about Rudy buying a house before he gets married, Rouger dropping off his sisters Norn and Aisha, the Zenith search party is formed, Roxy and Rudy get reunited, there's the Hydra fight, and Sylvie pops out Lucy Grey Rat. And that should bring everyone back into focus for what Cour 2 was all about.
Yeah, some definitely great highlights that I know we're going to get into.
Oh, definitely. And to continue with our format, let's introduce Lance's lessons. Today's Lance's lessons is going to be the Japanese word for father. And this one's going to be a little bit different because I'm going to give you two different kinds. The Japanese word for father that you will find in a textbook will be chichi. Chichi is spelled C-H-I-C-H-I. And the other form that most people will probably be familiar with that you will definitely hear in all the anime will be otosan. Otosan is O-T-O-U and then san, S-A-N. So chichi and otosan are going to be the two most common phrases for father.
Interesting. Okay.
And that one's going to be relevant because Rudy's a father and obviously the big shaker at the end with Paul.
Father's Day.
Yeah.
Oh, such a heartbreak.
Exactly. That was timed so perfectly. I'm so happy that they did that.
Absolutely. You think it was on purpose?
You know what? It's hard to say because I would like to imagine that this light novel came out so long ago and they took advantage of the opportunity. Like maybe this whole season, this whole cour could have came out like a season prior, like...
Yeah, because it was a split cour with a one season break.
Mm-hmm. So maybe they held off an extra season to launch this cour just so that it would time out like that. So very interesting, very good timing on that. Couldn't be any better. So
I mean, it had to have been on purpose because Mother's Day was when you find out about Zenith.
Mm-hmm.
Father's Day is what happens to Paul. So it's like, and they had breaks in between these weeks. It was 100% on purpose.
Yeah. So a lot of fun. And in case anybody doesn't quite understand, the original release dates of these episodes were on Father's Day and Mother's Day and with big significance to follow.
Yes.
So very clever on their part. But before we continue any more anime talk, Matt went above and beyond and read the light novel for this, much like he did on the last cour. So, Matt, is there any differences between the anime and the light novel? NANI?!
Absolutely.
just straight up.
Yes. Yeah, there are quite a few differences. Differences might be the wrong phrasing, but there's some added information for anybody who wants to get ahead and start reading what would be Season 3. That is Volume 13. So all in all, Season 2 consisted of 6 full volumes, and Cour 2 was Volume 10 through 12.
Oh, okay. So not a crazy amount of content going on there. I guess, to be fair, there's a couple fight scenes that could have been a little quicker being written out versus animated.
The Hydra fight was definitely pretty long.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it was essentially verbatim what we saw. So
awesome.
To write that, it is kind of long.
Oh, sure.
As, our in-house writer is concerned.
Yeah, it takes time to flesh out those details when it comes to fighting.
I would not know, but I believe you. I definitely believe you. So as far as Jobless Reincarnation Cour 2, to remind everybody, it does start on episode 13. just to kind of give everybody an idea of what's going on. The first difference that it's kind of hard to really put into perspective is Rudy doesn't own the house when he exercises the basically autonomous doll.
Okay.
In the anime, they made it seem very much like he did, and I'm pretty sure he did buy the house and then he exercised it. Or
yeah, I'm a little torn on that. Like, they made it seem that it could have gone either way. Like, he bought it for cheap, and then he felt confident to get rid of the problem, or he got rid of the problem to make sure that it's worth buying.
Yep.
They didn't say point blank, but I kind of had the impression that he bought it first.
Yeah, and the reason it's twofold why he bought it for cheap. One, it was very run down because it had been vacant for a while, and then two was essentially the curse within the house.
Yep.
And they do go into a lot of detail about how Rudy does end up buying the house. Basically, he went through like the zoning people, and that's how he bought the house. Basically, it almost like a realtor. Here's a book of houses. Here you go. Pick one.
Okay, yeah. In the anime, they showed like maybe 5 seconds worth of him flipping through a book, and that was kind of it. Yeah,
they just go in way more depth when it comes to that, kind of how he gets his money, or him saving his money since pretty much the beginning, is how he ends up buying the house. He has some, trying to think of the right word, hesitation into buying certain houses because he's like, well, Sylphie offers to give some money so that he can buy a nice house. And he's like, no, I need to do this because essentially that's how they get married.
So there was a comment in the light novel where Sylphie was part of this purchasing idea?
So Rudy was kind of stressing about it. And she was like, well, if you need money, I've been saving up and the princess has been paying me well the entire time. And Rudy was like, no, I've got this. I'm the man of the house. If I can't buy the house, I have no right to be able to marry you, kind of thing.
Right. Okay. So a couple of those comments were made just at different points in time. And the big thing the anime did was try to make it a surprise, even though Sylphie did some snooping and figured it out already. So just a couple mix-ups there. Yeah,
not really big issues.
Right.
One thing that they do talk about is, so that coffin that they were carrying the doll in, that Zenoba was carrying the doll, it is actually basically its charging station.
Okay.
So that's how it recharges every day.
Interesting.
Yep.
Okay. I'm very curious on that because what is so is it running on electricity then?
It basically like mana crystals. So how mana crystals need mana to recharge.
I suppose that makes sense because they made a comment that there's overlaying symbols and stuff that allow it to move.
Yep.
And it can't just move off on its own. It needs a power source. So I guess this makes sense.
Yeah, that's what the power source is that coffin-looking thing.
Okay.
Basically, the point of the doll was to take care of the house. And so that's what it was trying to do. So basically, every time somebody new would come in, it essentially thought it was an intruder. So that's why it was constantly trying to attack people.
Yep.
Rudy was able to move in about 2 weeks after he bought the house. Not really a huge difference. Just kind of give some timeline information. Rudy made everyone wear their uniforms for the wedding, basically because there were different classes of people that were going. He wanted it to be a celebration of the wedding, not necessarily somebody potentially trying to flaunt their status or issues of status coming into play.
Okay, so what you're saying is everybody wore the same thing, not what
their school uniforms. They wore their school uniforms, and typically when you go to a wedding, you would dress up for the wedding. But Rudy didn't want the different social statuses to basically counteract each other and potentially cause issues.
Right.
So he told everybody to wear their uniform, which is why you see everybody in their uniform.
Right. Makes sense.
They go into the gifts that everybody brings. Persina and Linnea brought ingredients and a hog.
Okay.
Like ingredients such as spices.
Okay. That's kind of what I thought you meant, but nice that you said that.
So Princess Ariel gave Rudy and Sylphie an aphrodisiac and a dildo.
Oh, what?
Yes. Marital aid.
Very interesting.
I tried very hard not laughing while I was going through that. I was like, oh my God, that's funny. Luke was actually hitting on Nanahoshi at the wedding.
Oh, very interesting.
It's not going anywhere, but that's as far as it went.
Yeah, I don't think Nana she's interested in anything besides getting home.
Yeah, she has zero interest in Luke. Speaking of Luke, he is an intermediate sword god style and an elementary water god style as far as the sword.
Okay.
So those are the two different sword classes or sword styles. And Luke actually got his arm broken by Rudy during their duel.
Oh, okay. So same thing happened. He got healed right away.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I think in the anime he just got cut a little bit. I don't really remember.
I think he just got taken down.
I remember him getting healed, but nothing to the point of where I thought he was like actually hurt.
Yeah, they were using stone swords.
Oh, were they?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I just assumed it was actual metal swords, but because they clearly weren't wood. But
yep, yeah. Rudy basically asked. He was like, "Hey, if we're doing this, can we do it with stone swords instead of real swords?" Because obviously Rudy won, but he didn't want to actually injure anybody or get injured in the process of the duel. They go into Elena-Lisa's backstory a little bit. So she would actually get abused by the elves due to her condition.
Oh, interesting.
And which is why she would only raise her kids long enough for them to be self-sufficient so that the stigma that she had wouldn't get passed on to her children.
Okay.
Rudy actually trains with Badigati. You learn about that.
Okay.
Trains as far as the sword is concerned. Like they do duels whenever Badigati would come by.
Okay. It would kind of solidify why his skills were so good against Luke. Because all we see during his training is him just swinging the sword probably a couple hundred times, like the traditional kind of stuff we see in anime.
I think Rudy, one, is better than Luke because of experience, for one. And then two, I just think he's a better swordsman, which, again, is going to really come down to experience because of Ruijerd.
Yeah, going through the Demon Continent and all that stuff.
And then training with Ruijerd and Eris.
Right. Because
I will get into her a little bit later. Rudy's house is about 30 minutes from the school.
Okay.
It's a good little walk. A little bit after Nanahoshi's meltdown, they go out drinking. So basically when she kind of recovers from her mental breakdown of the failures, like when she starts getting better, they actually all end up going drinking. So that's where they're coming back from when Sylphie is on Rudy's back. And then Norn, Aisha, and Ruijerd are at the house. That's where they're coming back from, is the night drinking. They just spent their entire night drinking.
Yeah, they kind of showed all that in the anime.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because Elena-Lisa was like, well, looks like celebration's on you for us helping you out summon this plastic bottle. And she says, well, I can't say no to that. And after this, I don't owe any of you anything. So they all go out drinking.
Yep. Sylphie actually ends up getting drunk, and they call her a clean drunk.
I can see that being her style.
The first conversation that Ruijerd and Rudy have, Ruijerd brings up Eris, like immediately.
Oh, yeah.
They go into the conversation. Basically, there's a lot more to the conversation. It's a lot more depth. Ruijerd is essentially like a sage old soul kind of person. The conversation veered in that manner. And he basically told Rudy, whenever you see Eris, give her an opportunity to talk. Mm-hmm. Because she doesn't do well. She can't express herself well. So the reason the letter said what it said was because Eris can't express herself. So what you think it said isn't probably what she meant. Give her the opportunity to explain herself.
Right. And I think as us viewers, we kind of already can connect those dots.
Yeah.
We know she left because she didn't feel adequate enough to be by his side.
Yep.
In that she was lesser than him, so she wanted to catch up.
Yeah, and we have to remember that they're 13 and 14
at that time.
Yeah, so they're very, very young at that moment too. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I think she was 15 and he was 14.
Yeah, I think maybe
something where it's somewhere around those lines. I just know that Rudy's 16 now, and it's been a couple years.
Yeah. Anyway, then Rudy explains everything that happened since Norn and Aisha last saw him. So he explains to them everything that happened. The chest with the money was enough to live on for 10 years. So that's how much money was in that chest.
God damn. Paul really sent him some money.
Yeah, he did. Rudy told Norn that she should specialize in healing magic, basically like her mom.
Interesting.
So, Zenith?
Both ways. I want to get into it. I'll get into that.
Yeah. So yeah, their mom is also a healing mage. So it's kind of because she wasn't sure about what she wanted to do. So he's like, well, everybody always needs healing. It's a good thing to get into. At the end of volume 11, you learn about Eris and what she's up to. And she is actually learning under the sword god style.
Okay.
As I had mentioned earlier, there's two. So there's the water god and then the sword god. So she's under the sword god. Rudy supplied magic to Alina Lisa's suppression garment.
I kind of figured.
Yeah. They just go into it. So I was like, I should probably write this down so I don't forget. And then, so when Alina Lisa tells Rudy to stop and let her teleport through, it's 15 minutes has passed by the time it takes her to come back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the anime made it seem like she was gone for hours.
Yeah, 15 minutes just twiddling your thumbs feels like hours, so
Sure.
I kind of like that. But yeah, it was 15 minutes.
Okay. I like that they at least said something.
Yep. They definitely run into a lot more monsters in crossing the desert. Like it's a lot. They ran into multiple succubi.
Oh.
Happens quite often. And
did he get seduced each and every time, or?
The first time was definitely the worst, but it does keep happening. And certain scenarios, it's significantly less depending on what's going on.
Okay.
We'll just put it that way. They talk about how in the first section of the desert, there are more demons there's more monsters than what's on the demon continent, like what Rudy would run into on a normal occasion than on the demon continent, which was kind of interesting.
Okay.
This is actually kind of funny. They had to fight a 5-meter tall chicken dinosaur thing.
Really?
Yeah. For all our American friends, it's about 15 feet.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's a really big chicken dinosaur thing.
Do they eat it too?
I believe so, yeah.
I don't know. You'd have to imagine. I mean, you kill something, you need to eat on that long journey. So.
Yep, exactly. So when Rudy and Alina Lisa go up the stone to get to the cliff, that is a griffin nest. So they fight a lot of them, not just the two.
Oh, interesting.
It took them so the bazaar, it takes 10 days. So when Alina Lisa is talking about how she is going to go find somebody to help herself, they're outside of a bazaar, like basically just a section that is like where travelers go to be able to continue traveling through the desert. And then you find out that her tool can suppress the curse for about 2 months. But because they don't know exactly how long it's going to take them to get through the desert, she relieves herself. We'll put it that way.
Right. Okay, so huge difference between, God, what was the first prototype? Was it only like an hour?
I think they said she could go like 3 days originally. So maybe it was a week. Maybe the first prototype was a week.
I want to say it was much shorter, but I clearly don't remember.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but 2 months is still a long time.
Oh, definitely.
When she basically had to do it literally, regularly.
Right.
So Rudy and Alina Lisa get hired as escorts. Basically, a lot of stuff happens in between the bazaar and getting to the city where Paul and them are.
Wow. That's a big skip, because basically pretty sure right after she goes manhunting, they're there. They're pretty much there the next, like the end of that episode. Right.
While it is information, it's not really important. It's just a new group of people that you meet that you'll probably never see again.
Okay.
So, because even on the travel back, we didn't run into those people. So that's probably why they skipped over it. It's just extra information that's not necessary to the progression of the story, in all actuality. Paul is actually told that him and Alina Lisa are related. So Paul knows that Alina Lisa is Sophie's grandmother.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering if they would have talked that out to any degree, but in the anime, I'm pretty sure he was left in the dust.
Yeah, they don't talk about it. But in the light novel, they definitely bring it up.
Okay.
They also don't just immediately believe the book. They basically test trial the book on the first floor to make sure that it is in fact true, everything that's within the book.
Sounds realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, geese takes it on face value immediately. He's
Yeah.
over the moon about it.
It's you could almost call it anime logic as far as the anime is concerned, where it's like, oh yeah, I know this book. Perfect. It's like, okay, sure. I don't think Geese knows how to read, so
He's looked at all the pictures and put 2 and 2 together.
Roxy has. I might have missed this. Did Roxy have a flashback before she died? Or not before she died. Before she almost died? Prior to Rudy saving her?
Nothing's coming to mind. I want to say no.
Okay, so she has a flashback. She basically remembers everything in her life, all the important moments in her life. That's really... I'm not going to go too deep into it. It's what you would think as far as a flashback is concerned.
Interesting.
The reason why they were trying to find a new sword for Elise is that it's actually less effective against armor as it deals wind damage. So it's good against flesh, but not armor.
Okay.
That's why they were in the...
So that new sword that they almost bought, but it was too expensive.
I think Elise does end up buying it, but yeah.
I was going to say, because I'm pretty sure they showed later that she uses it, but Roxy and Rudy clearly were flabbergasted by how expensive it was, so they made us think that they didn't get it. But then I'm pretty sure she did like a stabby motion and a gust of wind came out later.
That is what Elise's sword does, is wind, but I'm pretty sure they got her a new sword.
Okay.
They don't talk about constantly going back and forth between the basically where they're staying and in and out of the labyrinth. They more or less made it seem like they just one-tried go.
Oh, interesting. I feel... Well, I guess I can accept it on both ends.
Yep.
The anime showed that they were going back and forth because they need to restock.
Yep.
Sounds realistic enough. But then again, the light novel sounds realistic enough too, where if you're going to make that, just make it one big trip and plow your way through. Because if you double back, it gives opportunity for monsters to creep forward, and you're going to be just losing a lot of time and stuff like that.
If you have to double back, you're ill-prepared to begin with. Right. So it's kind of like... It makes both sense, or it makes sense on both ends.
Correct.
Like you were saying. Rudy used advanced healing magic on his hand, which is what basically gave him a stump.
Yep.
Rudy actually kept a piece of Paul's bone before he basically broke off a piece of Paul's bone.
Oh, did
and he has it with him.
Okay, because the anime showed that he picked up a piece, but it like crumbled.
Yeah, no, it doesn't happen like that in the light novel. He actually keeps a piece of Paul with him.
Okay.
And you know why they burned him, right? Basically, they kind of talk about it in season 1. Rouger brings it up, but do you remember?
Not off the top of my head.
So the concern is that he would come back as like a skeleton demon and basically wreak havoc.
Okay, so he can be reanimated somehow. And
so they're
do evil things.
That is why they burn him, is the concern that he can be reanimated. Yep.
Makes sense.
There is a long conversation between Elise and Tallhand and basically everybody minus Rudy about how to help Rudy get out of his depression. Basically, they're like, well, women help men get undepressed. And they're kind of like, well, Elise, you're good at this. And she's like, nope, absolutely not. Not happening. 100% flat out refused. They kind of made mention that, Roxy is also capable and she can do these things. So it wasn't something that, she took advantage of him, but she didn't just like, oh, he's depressed. Let me go have sex with him and make him feel better. Like it wasn't just a spur of the moment thing that she thought of.
Okay.
It's a very...
They alluded to that ever so slightly, but not to the degree where, well, I guess she did mention that the rest of the party thought it was a bad idea, but not to the point where they went into a big discussion about it.
Yeah, then the Elise and Roxy having the conversation after the deed has happened.
Right.
They make it much more serious. It's not serious. Not in the manner in which they made it seem. Also, Rudy did the same thing, had the same vigor, we'll put it that way, with Roxy that he had with... Sylphie the first time they end up having sex. Basically, he's like, man, I probably should have been a lot nicer to her because, this is the first time she's done this. So he was not very nice, we'll put it that way.
Oh, so are they alluding that this was Roxy's first time?
Yeah, it was.
Interesting. Just taking everybody's virginity.
Yeah, right? During the conversation with Elise and crew, this is when Roxy finds out about Sylphie. basically that's why Lionelise refuses to have sex with Rudy, is because she's like, I'm related to him. I'm not doing that.
Yeah. I'm married to my granddaughter.
Yeah. They also talk about their desire to want to leave because remember, Talhan and all them have been there for months, if not years. Mm-hmm. They're ready to go. The only thing that was keeping them there was Zenith. Zenith is essentially a walking blank slate. Mm-hmm. Kind of the best way to talk about it is that she has all her motor functions. She can do everything. She just remembers nothing.
Right.
And so that is another catalyst for Roxy. Besides, just her own desires and all that other fun stuff is they're ready to leave. Mm-hmm. So, well, she's going to do her part, literally. And then this is something they don't bring up in the anime, but when Rudy and Lionelise are having their conversation right before they get back, she tells him that Roxy said she's late. Come to find out that's not true.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, because everyone's happy at home right now.
Yep.
We're going to find out that there's a
little Roxy running around too.
Yeah, right.
No, she is not pregnant. And I took it as it was Lionelise's nudge to be like, hey, dickhead, you're going to do this. Grow a pair and do it. Mm-hmm. Like,
think seriously about it.
Yeah. This is what you want. You have more than enough reason to want it. It's fine. And so I took it as the catalyst to kind of help Rudy get over the hump of being like, okay, yep, I got to do this because she's pregnant. Mm-hmm. Not actually pregnant, but so yeah, we do find out that was not true. And the moment in which Rudy got back was so much less dramatic. Basically, the most dramatic part was Rudy couldn't get the door open, but Aisha was like behind the door after he gets it open.
Oh, so he didn't go search in the house?
No.
To find it empty for a moment?
No. He does have the anxiety/panic that something happened because the night before he kind of thinks about everything that happens and it's like, Hinagami said I'm going to regret something. Paul dying, while is upsetting, that's not something I would regret.
You said Hinagami?
The
man god?
Yeah, the man god.
So I think I remember you saying last time that the man god had a name in the light novel.
Yep.
Well, Gami meaning, whatever.
Yeah. So the man god, we'll just say man god. The man god said Rudy was going to regret something.
Yep.
Nothing as of yet he truly regretted. While he loved his father dying was just something upsetting. It wasn't like regret. And then what happened to Zenith, also not something that you can regret. So it's like, what is it that I'm going to regret? Mm-hmm. I don't know. Maybe we find out in the future because we never figure that out.
Right. We can shoot the shit about that later.
Yep. So he does go into a panic prior to getting to the house. And yeah, Aisha's right behind the door as he opens it. And yeah, there was nothing really dramatic inside the house.
Okay.
Here's one more funny thing about during that very serious conversation between Aisha, Norn, Sylphie, Roxy, and Rudy, is Sylphie was like, oh yeah, I figured he was just going to sleep with Persina or Lenia, so you're just fine. Like basically, okay. She assumed he was just going to sleep with somebody.
Yeah, I mean, she definitely said that she expected more girls to come around, but she definitely didn't mention the other two. Yeah,
Persina and Lenia, which is very funny that she specifically said those two. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's... the last one was Nanahoshi. She thought maybe he would sleep with her.
Oh, funny.
You find out what Roxy is doing. She is actually a teacher now. She is studying at the School of Magic.
Okay. Something to expect early season 3, I assume, then.
Yeah, I would assume so. When he gets back into school, honestly, this is probably a spoiler for season 3. They basically go into how she gets a job at the school. There's some funny moments that happens, and then she has a job at the school. So that is essentially the end of what would be season 2. The only added stuff that I'm going to talk about, because we may or may not get Eris. What they might do is somewhere in the future might give a flashback of everything that she's done up till Rudy and Eris run into each other. I'm assuming that's going to happen eventually.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
We do get to see her. She's obviously older. I think we see her in the closing credits.
Ooh. I remember watching the closing credits once.
There, you see a girl with red hair and a sword on her back, like facing out. It's fairly easy to assume that's Eris.
Yeah.
That may be something that they do is they just kind of, what have you been up to for the past 10 years, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And then they kind of like go back in time and kind of talk about everything. I could potentially see him doing that just so then kind of wraps everything up nice and well. But for anybody that is curious, you learn that Eris is going to be an incident that happens is the king water god sword user gets brought to where the sword god is. Incident happens. Basically, she is going to learn with a king water god swordsmith. Definitely a mouthful. But basically, Eris is learning to grow, is the best way to say it. She's honing her skills. So it's just something that happens where Eris can beat the strongest sword god, but can't beat the water god. And basically, there's three of them, and they're in a stronghold against each other because they're all supposed to be training against each other because this water god can beat Eris, but can't beat the sword god, the other sword god user, but Eris can beat the other sword god user, so it's kind of a triangle, and
sure.
So they're all basically training with each other. But yeah, that's everything. End of volume 12, right there.
Okay. Yeah, some good information there. A couple differences.
Yeah.
Very nice to hear about all that.
Good. I'm glad my time was useful.
Oh, definitely.
But before we get into our conversation, let's take a short break.
Hey Toasties, I'm Missy, here with my bestie Johnsy.
Hey y'all.
Do you like mind-blowing crime cases, spooky tales, and debating theories?
Well, what a coinky-dink, so do we. Grab your beverage and be a part of our Toasted Shenanigans on your favorite podcast app.
You can even send us a story or drink suggestion. Hit us up on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or at toastedshenanigans.com.
And now that we're back from our break, Lance, what'd you think of season 2, Cour 2?
Absolutely love this core of this series. Started out just a tad slow. Of course, we need to get some backstory, let everyone understand their living situation.
Yep.
But I guess what it really comes down to is like the final 4 or 5 episodes when shit just hits the wall, and just everything was just so amazing those past couple episodes.
Yeah, I would say, honestly, the first 4 episodes were kind of slow, but from I think they call it turning point 3, which is where Nanahoshi has her meltdown. Mm-hmm. From that point on, it's just straight either action, emotions. There's so much that happens in the last half of this season.
Right. Well, emotions kind of are a very big thing in this entire season, too, because there's like 3 separate times where I felt so attached to what the hell was going on. And it really focuses around Norn. Norn brought a lot of emotions out of me. And it all started back when she was turning herself into a shut-in.
Okay.
Basically, every time she straight up bawled.
Yep.
Like, that voice actor did a real good job pulling me into those pulling those heartstrings. Because I really felt it every single time she cried like that, which was only like twice, but still.
I guess something that I didn't go into, do you understand what her issue was, right?
Yeah, it was the idea that she was constantly being compared to Rudy. She didn't like Rudy. She wanted to be her own person, but everybody who looked at her saw Rudy and did not see her. So that's basically what I was getting out of it.
So and also it's easy to kind of call her twin sister, Aisha, as well. Aisha's got a perfect score on the exam. So Aisha's this quote unquote perfect person as well. So, she could never escape essentially being the, what's the word I'm looking for?
Black sheep? Not
really black sheep, but middle-class citizen of the family. Mm-hmm. Like she wasn't as smart as Aisha, wasn't as good with magic as Rudy, and then, you had already gone into that she basically hates Rudy. So it's no matter what happened, she can never escape just being lower than her brother and sister. It's really hard on somebody, especially when they're 10. That's something I think I didn't get into. They're 10 years old.
Okay.
When Rouger brings them to Rudy.
Makes sense.
They're young, and it's like you said, the voice actor did an amazing job of just bringing the raw emotion out of Norn.
Did you come away with any favorite characters in this core?
Oh man, favorite characters in this core? No, not really. Like I really like Rudy. I guess I'll go with Rudy. I really enjoyed his character development as far as this core, because there was a lot. There was so much. He, went from finally accepting the fact that he was kind of being pompous, trying to use his memories from his 34-year-old self to be somebody that he's not, and just getting better with his mom and then his dad getting married. There was just so much to it. I really enjoyed Rudy. What about you?
Yeah, he had a lot of growth in this season. Nothing too insanely awesome about anything, or about any character for that matter. Just a lot of world building with everybody. But if I was to throw anybody an extra bone, it would be Elena Elise. She was just a great support character. It's kind of be weird to say a motherly role, but maybe a cool aunt, because she definitely doesn't come across as the grandmother, but she's strong. She knows what she's doing. She's firm. Not her body, but the way she tackles life. So she was very interesting. We got to see her in action. That was cool. Got to see some ice abilities coming out of her. Didn't see that coming. So all in all, I respect her a lot more.
Okay, yeah.
It's kind of hard to say. Sylphie is Sylphie. She's just that super nice, Midwestern girl. Totally accepting of Rudy and who he is. Is very, I don't know. I definitely was not shocked at the end when Sylphie accepted Roxy. Because as soon as Rudy's hey, there's one more thing to talk about, when they were outside saying bye to everybody, Sylphie kind of gave that look. And then she said, let's go inside. I'm oh, she already knows. That was obvious. All the emotions came out very, like we just said, damn, Norn is very outspoken. She is not afraid to speak her mind. She speaks truth in everything. For a 10-year-old, she really knows what to say.
No holds bars.
Yeah. So I respect her for that too. But Sylphie was great. Really liked her with her long hair. She looked way more mature.
And
it looks like she almost grew 5 years older with the long hair.
Yeah, I can absolutely see that. I thought she was older as well. One question, do you think Rudy's going to get his hand back? Do you think they're going to go somewhere and try and heal it?
I would like to say no.
Okay.
I don't want this. This show is not your perfect, let's always take care of the main character kind of anime. I think
he goes 2 years with ED.
Yeah. So I think he's always going to have this handicap.
Okay.
Mainly because until that moment happened, he's always been the OP magic user. So let's dumb him down a little bit and make him, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Humble and, I don't know, just more mature.
Okay.
So I would be surprised if they give him some kind of growth. Maybe in the end.
Okay.
But not anytime soon.
Okay.
What do you think?
I feel like they would do something.
Yeah.
Whether that's get it.
Think they go Star Wars route and give him a fake hand that he could move magically or something?
Potentially. I mean, I can see that happening because they're
prosthetic.
They're studying the doll.
True. Okay. I like where this is going.
So what's the significance in the doll if they're just going to study it?
Right. I mean, Pax definitely wants to play with this doll. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be sexually, but to any degree. But I think his fascination.
Zenoba?
I said Pax. Pax was the brother.
Yes.
Zenoba.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't wait. That was going to be one of my questions about this whole thing too, is do you think he's going to figure this out and learn, understand, replicate anything about this doll? Maybe he has to. This doll has to come to some understanding to where we can see it in action, where he owns it like a Pokemon and he can just order it around. I can definitely see something like that happening.
There has to be significance to the doll. It's too vital of a point, a plot point. For them to just be oh yeah, I was in the house and we never see it again.
Right. I like that they pulled significance out of this when they were helping Silent with overlaying spells together. When he said that the elbow and the arm connect, so those are connecting symbols.
Yeah, they're layered.
The overlayers. So it was nice that they had a dual use out of the doll with that, but that doll cannot be just dead weight at this point.
Yeah, that can't be the whole significance of it, because while that is important, all we've gotten is like a clear plastic water bottle with no cap.
Yeah.
It's too minor of a focal point that they spent a lot of subtle moments talking about.
Okay. Yeah, I completely changed my mind on everything. I like where you're going with this.
Okay.
I would love to see Rudy get a prosthetic like this with magic circles, put them together.
Yeah.
And him just having a fake arm. I like that.
Yeah, I think him spending all of his time getting a new hand would be I could kind of see them doing that. Like, I don't know, I want to fill up both my lives at the same time, so I need two hands. Like, maybe that's what he convinces himself to go do to get his hand back. Yeah, but
can't grab both boobs with one hand.
Yes.
I mean, I guess you can, but it's a lot better with two hands.
Agreed. But I just feel like it'd be kind of weird to handicap Rudy in that manner. So I think they'll do something. I do like the prosthetic idea. Because then it would give a way to handicap him without it being permanent.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I like this route.
So, that'll be... Do you think that'll happen right away then? Or do you think it's going to still take some time?
Not right away.
Okay.
Maybe this could be an idea that gets introduced season 3 core 1 at the end. I can see season 3 being another dual core kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that would make sense. Kind of like almost a cliffhanger moment for the second core of season 3. That'd be good.
Or even just a finisher. I'd be happy if it was a cliffhanger or the ending to core 1.
Yep.
Like a nice little happy note.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that would be very interesting. I did bring it up earlier. Do you think we're going to see Eris in season 3?
We have to.
Okay.
If we don't open up season 3 with some backstory of her training and whatever, I would be a little surprised. I think we're going to jump into her immediatly because I think this is where everybody's minds are at. So, and like the light novel was, we got introduced to her. Anime showed basically absolutely nothing.
Yep.
So I would like to see right off the jump, Eris, what is she up to?
Okay. I have a feeling no. Maybe in the end of season 3. Because I feel like there's still going to be some more time that passes for whatever reason.
Okay.
Maybe Rudy has to graduate and starts traveling, and that's when he runs into her. But I feel like Rudy's going to finish school. Like, that's going to be that chapter. And then, I don't know, maybe get Roxy pregnant, actually get her pregnant.
Yeah.
And so those things happen. So now he's in the next stage of his life. And I don't know, he's going with Roxy to a labyrinth and runs into Eris or something along those lines, where you kind of get two plot points that interconnect, because, the series loves to do that, where, Roxy and Rudy finally get to explore a dungeon together, and Eris just happens to be in said dungeon training or something.
Yep, I can see that happening.
So it'd be interesting. But I feel like that's not going to be until like the end of season 3 or something.
Yeah, I definitely don't foresee them reuniting until late.
Yep.
I would just like to imagine that they would show us viewers what she's been up to.
Yep.
I don't know. I can see this going both ways now, because why would you show her if she's not gonna be relevant like right away?
Because she's still relevant to the story, even if we don't think about her.
Right.
So that maybe it was just hey, remember, she's getting older too, and she's still around. Maybe. I don't know. But I'm definitely looking forward to season 3. I'm excited. It'll probably be like 2 years until we get it, but
that's gonna be very sad if it takes that long.
Yep.
The end of the credits of season 2 core 2 said it's in the making, so
yep.
Hopefully they push forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you have a favorite moment?
Aside from the obvious, which I assume a lot of people are going to pull from this, is going to be the Hydra fight.
Okay, yep.
I kind of want to go back to Norn and just her emotional stuff. Both just crying it out in the dorm.
Yep.
Making herself stronger there, and crying it out, learning that her dad's dead and Rudy lost an arm, and just coming to realization of life.
Her taking up the sword.
Love that. Are
you sure you don't want to change your favorite character to Norn?
I love Norn. Norn was such a good character.
No, she is fantastic in this season.
Because there was a lot of callbacks to when Rudy was even a child.
Yep.
She was just as stubborn as he was. She spoke her mind just like he did. I don't want to say no respect, but little respect to a degree. She feels like she's smart enough to say things out loud.
Yep.
When she was training with the sword, Rudy was going at her. His dad, when he was mad about Paul cheating on Zenith with Lilia.
Yep.
Exact same thing happened with her. And so a lot of similarities. And another moment I loved a lot was as soon as she was given the sword, Rudy gave her that little speech about keep a sword in your heart as well on your side.
Yep.
Never mistake a weapon for courage. I thought those were all powerful words, just like what Paul told him.
Yeah.
So
10 years prior.
yeah. So yeah, exactly. Anything to do with Norman, I guess.
No, I feel you on that one.
Yeah, what about you?
I do completely agree about the Hydra fight. I thought that was absolutely fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Kind of all the things you said, man, I just kind of agree with everything you said. It's very heartfelt. I enjoyed the moment when Rudy saves Roxy in the labyrinth. I thought that was a really good scene.
Yeah, that was really nice.
I did find it funny that, he threw up because Roxy didn't remember him.
Yep. I was about to just comment that too. Like, I laughed pretty loud when she made the comment that Rudy puked because I smell so bad. I'm like, oh, damn, that's pretty funny.
I had a feeling that Rudy was going to have more than one wife.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just very nice to be like, oh, okay, it was Roxy. This is how it happened. Makes all the sense in the world as far as the story and Rudy is concerned.
Yep.
So I like how they did that. I guess one thing I want to talk about, I wouldn't definitely call it my favorite, but just something that stood out was when Linia and Persina gave him the bag of underwear.
Yeah.
I just thought it was super funny.
Yeah, that was very much like them to do.
Yep. And it was all because, he had mentioned that he liked underwear
right
at one point, and they're like, oh, well, he'll love this. And it's like, A for effort. That's as far as we can say on that one.
Right.
So that's basically as much as I want to talk about that. It was funny, and it's the last time you see him for the season. So
yeah, pretty much. Sticking with these two.
Yes.
Manga made a mention that if Rudy were to stay and not go to Begarit, that the next mating season he would hook up with one of the two.
Yes.
And he would have a happy family again. Now, Rudy's back before the next mating season.
So no, it's not. It's after the mating season.
It is?
Yeah, it's after.
Oh, they didn't say that in the anime.
Yeah, it's after. So basically it's the following winter. I'm assuming the mating season's in the fall.
Okay.
Which would make sense because that's basically when Rudy got there in the first year. And remember, he has to fight all those people because it's mating season.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm glad you said that because the anime wasn't clear. I mean, I guess you can try to put two and two together. I mean, a solid 6 months or so went by because Sylphie was pretty newly pregnant, came back a month before she popped.
Yep.
So
I guess it was 2 months. At least the light novel says it was 2 months.
Oh, really?
Yep. So basically, within the first month, 6 months later, so then 8 and 9. So month 8 and 9, then she popped out.
Yeah.
At least that's as far as the timeline is concerned in the light novel. Not 100% sure exact timelines in the anime. But yeah, it was 2 months.
Okay.
Rudy was also celibate those 2 months. So when they came back, he said he wouldn't have sex with either of them.
Oh, okay, interesting. Because I know Aisha definitely mentioned that Sylphie was in a delicate condition, so he's not allowed to have sex with her, so he probably just honored that one and continued that until...
Yep. And then he basically said that he wouldn't do anything with Roxy until they got married.
Okay.
So...
Makes sense.
Kind of a repentance for cheating on Sylphie.
Right.
So...
Okay, well, doubling back to the mating season...
Yes.
There's going to be another mating season. Do you think that because this one foretold deal was overlooked, it's done and over with, this won't happen again? Or do you think it's still a possibility that you might have a little cat or a little dog child on the way?
I am going to let you answer your own question first, and then I will answer said question.
Okay. I'm going to go with no.
Okay.
I think he's got a new wife now. He's going to chill out for a moment.
Yep.
And I think the next woman in his life is going to be Eris.
Okay.
So I think they're going to remain as just friends. That's what I would like to put my money on.
I think that makes complete sense. And the other piece of information that that I don't remember if they talk about it in the anime, but Persina and Linia are graduating this calendar school year.
Oh.
So they won't be there for the next mating season.
Interesting. Okay, so that's a big thing to keep in mind too then.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so he's probably in the clear.
Yep. Yeah, I have a feeling he will not choose either one of them. Well, speaking of that, which one do you think he would choose?
The cat one.
Lenia?
Lenia, yeah. She's a little bit more frisky, outgoing. Persina, the dog one, she just likes to eat. Like she definitely says some sassy things, and like I don't remember how the Japanese made her voice actor, but she comes off very sexual, I guess. But she doesn't like put herself out there the way the other one would.
So if I remember correctly, basically they mate with one person. So both of them are also virgins as well.
Okay.
So keep that in mind. But I think he would go with Persina just for her chest, because she has the bigger chest.
Okay. I can see that. I mean, both of them do have, let's say, perks to why he would choose them. And plus, they also had a conversation about how if you got with Boss, you'd be well fed forever or something along.
That's
like
true.
The wedding conversation.
That is very true. Oh, that's sweet. I'll talk about this in a moment because you just reminded me. But yeah, they definitely would be well fed, so he could feed either of them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think he would go with Persina.
The dog?
Yeah.
Okay.
But one thing that I forgot to mention is basically everybody gave all of their money to Rudy. So they come.
The entire party?
The party gave all their money, basically all their money to Rudy.
Interesting.
They talk about how they go back and basically get all the scales and everything from the dragon, and they have a fortune, essentially.
Oh.
Just super, super high amount of money
Makes sense.
From this dragon.
I can also see a dual use out of the dragon scales because it was not exactly magic repellent.
Yep.
Because obviously point blank would work, but basically enough. So yeah, that'd be some very powerful stuff. Yeah.
And then the other piece of information that I forgot to mention is the dagger sword that Paul uses. So the smaller one actually has an inverse effect. So the stronger the defense the item or monster has, the more powerful it is.
Okay. So So basically, I don't want to say matches, but counters a strong defense.
Yeah, so that's how he could cut through the Hydra so easily.
Oh,
was with the other sword.
Interesting. Okay, I'm glad that was said, because otherwise the anime just made us feel that he was just that freaking strong.
I mean, he was able to use said sword and cut through, but yeah, it was. They talk about it, and then the other thing is that Paul essentially has, you could almost call it high luck roll. You could almost think of it that way, because he got this sword for a discount because everybody thought it was weak.
Okay.
Because, if you use just regular objects, like it's not going to be very strong. But if you go against strong monsters, then it's strong.
Right.
So it was, he got it for cheap, and he was probably the only person that would have thought about picking up this weapon and using it for its actual use.
Makes sense. Yeah, he's not that big of a dummy.
No, he is definitely a very good adventurer. We'll put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's something I forgot to mention, is that Rudy has a large wealth of money at this point.
That's so crazy.
Because Talhan was like, I pretty much did nothing.
Oh, okay. I was just about to say, back to the fight.
Yes. Let's talk about the fight that I absolutely loved. I thought it was fantastic.
Just like I was about to say, Talhan.
Mm-hmm.
Really funny to see him do literally nothing against that dragon.
Mm-hmm.
He almost died. Roxy healed him, and then he ran his little fat self off and thanked her for it. And that's I laughed when I saw him run, because I'm like, you don't do anything. And then that was your shining moment, was almost dying, and then you can't heal anybody.
Yep.
Your earth magic doesn't do anything from a distance because it's repelling everything.
Yep.
You're dead weight to everybody. So I thought that was really funny.
Geese did nothing.
Oh, yep. Didn't think about him.
Paul obviously died. So yeah, you've got Roxy and Elinalise.
Yep.
And then obviously Rudy. So they gave pretty much everything to Rudy.
Yep. So crazy. So yeah, that fight was absolutely amazing both times. The introduction of this Hydra was really awesome. I think one of my favorite moments was the Hydra being smart enough to rip off its cauterized neck to regrow it from behind. I thought that was just awesome. Great writing. I
did find it funny that Hercules
was made mention.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, that's good. And I like the fact that he's like, I've got nothing better. Let's try this. Because it's true. They couldn't do anything. Right. So, I'm glad the fact that the Hydra was so strong that you basically had to be like, oh, well, it's worth a try. We're all dead or this works.
Yep. Yeah, it's either it's all or nothing. Give it a go or give up. And Paul definitely was not going to give up.
Yep. I really enjoyed the emotional part of Paul running in to try and save Zenith right away.
On round one?
On round one.
Yeah. That was very emotional. I raged, totally like Vegeta-esque. I totally understood and felt all of that.
Yeah, because it'd been, 6 years. Because
I think they made mention that he was 7 the last time he saw his mom. So it's been almost 10 years. I think they even made mention it's been almost 10 years since I've seen Zenith.
Yeah, because it would have been basically the event.
Calamity, the Mana disaster.
Yeah, the Mana disaster. Remember, that happened shortly after Rudy's 10th birthday, so it would have been about 6 years. So
you're right.
The anime makes it seem like it happened like on his birthday. No, it happened like a little bit after. Yeah.
I was about to say, like, he said 7, but I forgot he went to go train Eris for a couple of years, and then that happened. So so still hasn't seen Zenith. Speaking of Zenith,
yes,
we were kind of alluding to that in the beginning of this episode.
Yes.
The pronunciation, Zenith, they do say it both ways in the anime.
Oh, I did not catch that.
Yeah, when I was rewatching it, and then people were saying Zenith, I'm like, I swear to God, people were saying Zenith. And then the final 4 episodes, when they're on the search party for her, everybody's saying Zenith. I'm like, why the fuck would you change this halfway through the episode or a season? I'm like,
just pick one.
Yeah, I don't know. So, but I do say both ways. I think the people who are closest to Zenith say it with a hard E.
Okay.
And then everybody else says Zenith.
Interesting. That'd be a weird distinction.
Right?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. I was going to say I'm pretty sure in season 1 they call her Zenith, but as you said, everybody close to her calls her Zenith. So it's like, that wouldn't be a good... I'm going to keep saying Zenith. Just makes the most sense to me.
Yeah, I can understand. It's Zen. Kind of looks like, the money currency Zen.
Yep. So should it be Zenith?
You'd think. But like they were saying Zenith, so I'm good with that.
Yeah, I'm good with Zenith as well. So that fight, I could probably rewatch that a handful of times and not get bored. It was so good.
It was so good. It was 100% perfect fantasy kind of a battle.
Yes.
Everything was just amazing in that.
I love the fact that, Roxy was like, I read about this in a book once. I thought it was fake. So they even made mention about how this thing essentially shouldn't be a real thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, now this makes me question. This whole search party started because somebody gave a hint that she was in here with her old party, whoever she was with.
Yep.
And then she got trapped. Does this mean that her old party that she fell into made it to this Hydra, and then somehow Zenith got trapped and the rest of the party died? Like, I really want to know about this party that she traveled with, because this layer that they're in is pretty well hidden.
Yep.
That hidden staircase had a perfect layer over it, as if it was meant to be hidden.
Yep. I'm curious if maybe one of those, was it 3 teleportation circles?
Inside that one room?
So there were initially, besides the real one, I thought there were 3 on top, or was it just 2? Anyway, I'm wondering if one of those teleportation circles that were in the main room, teleported you behind the Hydra, or did it teleport you into essentially the mana crystal and...
Oh, I see what you're getting at. I don't remember talk about multiple teleporting crystals. I remember before they found the staircase that there was one.
Okay, so there was only one?
But that was the one that would teleport you out of the room into either a random location or whatever, but...
I thought they said it was a trap one.
Right. But they were getting at that was... Well, also the book mentioned that there's no further information because that's as far as the author made it.
Yep.
But it was clear that one symbol was not the way to progress forward.
Yep.
So I'm only aware of that one.
Okay.
Light Novel mention 3?
I don't remember.
Maybe after the staircase I can see something like that happening then?
No, that was just the one. So it was staircase 1, and then it was the Hydra room.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if the one that was from the staircase, if that one was a trap one, and you either went behind the Hydra and immediately died, or you got basically teleported into a crystal, which is how the Hydra could keep living, because maybe it just fed off mana crystals, and if you had a lot of mana, then you would survive for a really long time.
I can see that.
But I feel like that teleportation circle was a trap.
Okay. Yeah, my first impulse would have been it just teleports you to a different part of the layer, backwards.
Yep.
But it would also make sense that it instantly traps you inside a crystal for the Hydra to feed off of in order to power itself up or something.
Which would also go into who the fuck made this labyrinth?
Yeah, that too.
Because I wonder if it was Orsted.
Yeah, I was going to say some kind of god would have to.
Yeah, I wonder if Orsted.
And he's the teleporting guy too.
He's
the one that knows more about it.
And he's essentially, I think he's the strong. So he's the second strongest, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we have to go real back.
Far ago. We'll say top 3. I would
for sure
easily top 3. So I feel like he would be strong enough to be able to take on the Hydra and in a sense trap it, and then make this labyrinth around him, or not him, but the Hydra. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, but then you have to beg the question, what's the whole purpose of this? Maybe there's something else in that labyrinth that Orsted or whoever is trying to protect. Like maybe it'd be a real roundabout way to have some form of teleportation to another point of the world.
I wonder, that Hydra had to have been protecting something.
Right? It couldn't just been a typical video game boss.
Yeah, that'd be weird.
Something else. Yeah, I would like to find something else of importance down there.
Well, that, and, in every video game boss, it is stopping you from progressing for something, unless it's the final boss of the series.
Right.
So, which this obviously isn't. So what is it protecting? Because if you remember, the one teleportation section, I guess you could say, was hidden, that you had to pray or say some incantation to get it so you could get into it. It was hidden behind a barrier.
Oh, when Rudy was getting to Beggarite, he had to break down the spell in order to get inside.
So I'm wondering if there's more in that labyrinth.
Right. Yeah. There's got to be. I would love to see some more information come out of that.
Yeah, that'd be very interesting. I doubt we're going to get that in season 3, though.
No. It's got to be some future thing right before we have to fight a god or something.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I feel like Rudy is going to be one of the strongest in the world. Mm-hmm. Like the top 10 or whatever. So I feel like that's essentially Rudy's, not his end goal, but I feel like that's like the end goal of the series, is that Rudy's going to eventually be the strongest. Maybe 1, because this is going to bug me. But yeah, so I feel like that's going to be what happens.
Yeah, he's going to have to train, fight Orsted, defeat him, be crowned the strongest, and then live a happy life with 3+ wives.
Yep. The technique god. Because I think that's who they say is the strongest.
Right.
So
yeah, that's ringing some bells.
So I'd be very, very interested in that.
I would like some future episodes to really break down these gods again, go into depth, kind of show some faces of who they are, or have Man-God explain them to a degree.
So that's another thing. What do you think his end goal is?
I think ultimately, I want to say he's kind of screwing around with Rudy.
Okay.
But he's definitely using him somehow.
Okay. Do you think he is... So he can obviously tell the future. Do you think he's fucking with him to kind of... He's obviously messing with him for something.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the ultimate goal is going to happen no matter what.
Okay.
So I think Man-God is able to play with him along the way for his own amusement. Mm-hmm. And then I think ultimately, who knows, maybe he needs Rudy to release him to some degree and then bring him back into the tangible world, the real world.
Okay.
And then we find out he's a bad guy or something. And then he's got to fight Rudy or the technique god. Maybe he is no, he can't be the technique god. Well, because Orsted knows who Man-God is.
Yes.
So that needs to get explained a little bit further.
Absolutely.
God, this can go in so many directions.
Do you think, that kind of just made me think of something, do you think that the summoning was supposed to be for the Man-God and not Nanahoshi?
Interesting. First impulse is going to be no.
Okay. Because he feels like he's in some pseudo space.
Right.
So what was the point in the summoning? Like, why would you summon just an average girl?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very confusing. In addition to that, I would like to see more summoned people. Like there's not necessarily a community of people, but randomly placed humans from Japan or elsewhere
Okay.
throughout Rudy's journeys that he'll run into.
Kind of like slime.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can see at least one more person that he'll run into who's it'd be pretty fun to see another reincarnate, but
Okay.
I would doubt that. I would rather, not that I would rather, but I would realistically see another summoned person versus anything else.
Okay.
Do you think that might be a possibility? It's a little far-fetched.
Yeah, I don't think so. Because of the mass teleportation, I feel like because of how dramatic it was, I feel like this was a once ever incident.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because that caused the Great Calamity to begin with.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to know more about who created it, like who created the calamity, what their intention was, and then why Nanahoshi.
Yeah, was it her? Who was the initial target? Yeah, that can answer a lot of questions. Starting to feel like Dr. Stone here.
Yes.
The purpose of turning the world to stone. Yeah, so many questions. We get just a couple answers every single core, and then we're just left with even more questions.
Yes. And then, of course, we get 6 volumes in. So we're on the 13th volume. And this is all the information that we really have. So it's super curious to know what happens.
Do you know how far the light novel is right now?
So there are currently 26 volumes. And we are at the end of
13.
No, we're on 13.
Oh, we finished 12.
Yep. 26 is the conclusion of the series.
Oh, so it's finished?
It's finished, or it is finishing. I need to read a little bit more, but yes. So volume 26 came out in Japan in November of 22 and was translated this year in 24.
Oh.
So just recently translated.
Crazy. Okay, so it is probably done?
It is done. I was
going to say 2022 was the last novel, and that much time has gone by without anything.
Well, they call it the conclusion arc. Okay. So, 26.
Interesting. Okay, so we're halfway through the light novels.
Yes, and don't look it up. Major spoilers. Weird. But that's fine. I've pretty sure I've seen these before, so I get spoiled a lot. I am not going to scroll because I will absolutely get spoiled, and I don't want to be spoiled. So
it's so fun to know that the main source is finished because it makes you very interested and kind of a little pushy to read on ahead. Have you read ahead?
A little bit.
Just a little?
Just a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I think 1 chapter.
Oh, so nothing of significance.
No.
Okay.
I will say if it stays at this pacing, we're talking another
48 episodes.
Yeah, 2 seasons. I feel like they'll drag it out a little bit. We'll probably get 3 out of it.
Yeah, because you can expect some fight scenes coming out, and those are going to be extended.
Absolutely. I feel like it's going to be a lot of building, and then, I don't know, maybe the next Great War or something happens, and then it's just going to be nonstop action. Because I feel like we're going to get some significance with Ruijerd.
Speaking of Ruijerd, I saw in the ending credits that he's walking around the Bodigatti.
Yep.
So I'm wondering what the hell's going on there, because when they crossed paths after the wedding, after the girls got dropped off, they didn't look happy.
Yep.
But now they're traveling together, so what the hell's going on there?
Yeah, there's all these things that I keep not really forgetting that I don't write down because I don't feel like they have any significance, and then we're talking about it. So one thing that happens is basically after Ruijerd leaves, they don't see Badigatti again.
Yep.
So it'll be very interesting. We get this little hint that, maybe Badigatti went and found Ruijerd, but we knew that there was some bad blood between them, which we do find out that Badigatti fought against Laplace. And if you remember, the Supered race fought with Laplace.
Right. They got essentially brainwashed. Not brainwashed, but they got tricked.
Yeah, they got manipulated.
Cursed.
Yeah, they got cursed, manipulated.
Yep.
And so obviously you could assume that Ruijerd and Badigatti probably fought each other at some point. And maybe they'll have a flashback and we'll get some information on what happens. They have mutual friendship, which is Rudy, and obviously Badigatti really, I guess, respects Rudy.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
So if Ruijerd is friends with Rudy and Badigatti is friends with Rudy, I feel like they're going to kind of
bury the hatchet.
Yeah, at least be mature enough to have a conversation. So because he Rouger still has his spear. Well, he has his son's spear, but he doesn't have his green hair. So it's like, okay, what happened that made you change, essentially?
Right.
So maybe they'll somehow become friends, and that's what's going on there.
Yep. Can totally see that.
So it'll be very interesting to find out what happens there.
Just looking at one of my notes. I said, going through this second cour, relearning about Paul's second wife, seeing Rudy get a second wife. This anime has really given me the courage to take on a second wife myself.
Yeah, I don't think your wife would appreciate that, but
no. We're followers of Millis.
Millis, yes, absolutely.
So making a quick little joke there. I thought that's pretty fun.
Yeah, the cyclicalness of this series is very, very good.
Mm-hmm. One last thing I might be able to throw out there.
Okay.
Rudy asked if their child would have the same knack for magic as they do.
Yep.
Do you think Lucy is going to be just another prodigy?
My initial instinct is to say yes.
Mm-hmm.
Rudy also knows the cheat code, so that is something.
He also started very young, so that was more natural to him.
Well, that's essentially what I was getting at, is he knows that the earlier you start this, the greater your mana pool will start growing. Mm-hmm. And so because he knows this, he also knows about enchantless magic. If you remember, he's also trying to teach Julie this stuff as well.
Yep.
So he's already practicing on how to train somebody at a young age.
Have we seen Julie, the little dwarf girl, actually succeed in incantationless magic? I don't think we've quite seen anything.
That is a very good question.
Because I remember when we first got her, she was definitely practicing.
Yep.
But I don't think we've seen anything since then.
I'm just going to go with yes, as in yes, we haven't seen her, but yes, she can use it. I
think she'll get there.
Yeah.
She's, like Rudy said, she's learning the human tongue. She's learning etiquette. Yep. She's learning how to be a person first.
Yep. With a little bit of training. That is something that they make mention, is that he is also teaching her / Zenoba how to properly make the figures and to use magic, which obviously Zenoba has no knack for.
Right.
I think he has 0 magic, or like next to 0 magic.
Yeah, he made mention that he's basically useless in that.
Yep.
He wants to be more useful than just contributing money.
Yep.
And being a blessed child, I want to see him in action for some kind of fight scene again, because being able to withstand whatever the doll was throwing at him inside that house, having 0 effect on him, being slapped around by Bodyguardi does nothing to him as well. Bodyguardi respects him for being a blessed child, even though he can't drink as much as he can. Thought that was pretty funny. I would just like to see Zenoba do something defensively again, like protect the family in some way, take on a big magic blast and use his body as a shield.
Okay.
Something along those lines. I think he's going to be useful again to some degree like that.
Okay. Yeah, that's understandable. I have no idea. Maybe. I feel like he's gonna, being super strong is gonna come into play somewhere. Too bad he didn't come with for the Hydra fight.
Ooh, yeah. That could have been pretty interesting. I don't know if he'd be able to take on like a full chomp, but...
No, but he could punch the shit out of it.
Yeah, right?
I think that's about all he can. He would get one and then lose a leg or something like that, so...
Maybe, yeah. He'd be a scared boy.
Yeah, he probably wouldn't do nothing. He also makes mention how he is basically the worst ever traveler, because he's nobility, so he is a terrible adventurer because he couldn't live the life of an adventurer.
Right. Yeah, it all makes sense.
I guess one more question that I have is, do you think Zenith is gonna get her memories back? We saw a little bit of the gauntlets being important to her, but other than that, she's essentially a moving doll.
Right. Yeah, when she grasped onto those gauntlets, it made me think of Sword Art Online when Kirito was in that wheelchair holding onto those swords.
Yeah.
And, what was the latest? Alicization. So that brought back that memory. I would be hard-pressed to say she's going to be like that forever. So I would like to imagine slowly but surely she'll get her memories back. Telling the story of Paul in front of her like that definitely activated something.
Okay, yep.
So I would like to imagine she might need another reminder or two that'll just make something click, make something spark.
Okay.
And then things will slowly and exponentially bring her back to normal.
Okay, I buy that. I like it.
You think she's going to be like this long term?
No, I don't think. Long term maybe, but not forever.
Yeah.
I feel like she has to come to eventually.
I agree.
Because why save her?
Right.
Like
It'd be a sad ending if she was like this for the rest of the story.
Yeah. Like, I could kind of see it if this was towards, like, the end of the series.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, like it could be one of those things where Rudy's down on his luck. He's getting his ass handed to him. And then Mom steps back into play, like rooting him on, like she's finally normalish. And that gives him the courage to fight for his family or something. Maybe give Rudy just a reason to push himself.
Maybe. I don't think so. But that is being hopeful. Very hopeful.
Right. Just trying to think of drama.
Valid. But yeah, I really got nothing else. That I absolutely enjoyed Cour 2. I thought it was better than Cour 1. Cour 1 was obviously...
It's a fantastic start, stepping stone to what this story could turn into.
Yes.
An insane amount of building into this world in a good way, but definitely, I mean, as soon as we got to this Hydra fight, it was...
Yeah.
Let alone, okay, this season was 24 episodes, and it took the final 4 to be like shonen-esque.
But it was fantastic throughout.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Cour 2 was definitely better than Cour 1. Cour 1, I feel like Cour 1 was necessary as far as the season was concerned, because it just added some buildup as to why Rudy is the way he is.
Mm-hmm.
So that was very nice. I could definitely 100% watch this again, though, like the whole season.
Yeah, beautiful story. Loving it. There's definitely a handful of pervy things and questionable things that we've seen throughout this entire story so far, but still a fantastic story.
Absolutely. And I cannot wait for season 3.
Definitely agree.
But that is all we have as far as Jobless Reincarnation. I know, Lance, you have some more stump me in Pokemon, because I'm still only batting 33%.
Yeah, so I got a couple more questions for you as far as our Pokemon quizzes go, and I think I might be a little hard on you on one of these questions, but I'll see. We'll see when we get there.
All right, we'll see. They're fun. That's all I can say.
All right, question 1. Before we start, this is going to revolve more around Gen 2 stuff as we continue this journey. But this first question is just general. What does TM and HM stand for?
Oh man, I want to say it's technique, and oh man, I don't know what H stands for. I know T is technique, but I don't remember what H is.
Super duper close on that. Technically, it's technical.
Oh, okay.
The M stands for machine, so it's technical machine.
Yep.
And hidden machine.
Yeah, I would have never guessed that.
Yeah. I'm replaying Crystal right now. So jumping from the brand new Pokemon that's out today where they completely got rid of HMs.
Yep.
And now I have to deal with all the HM shit, and the old games have a shit Pokemon to run around with. Like, your 6th Pokemon is basically your HM bitch.
Absolutely.
So annoying.
You find one that can get them all, or get the most of them.
Right. Especially in Crystal, when you need Waterfall, Whirlpool, Surf. So that's my Red Gyarados right now. He's just going to be my HM bitch.
Oh, that was my Wailord when I was playing.
In Emerald,
yep.
Gen 3?
Yep.
Yeah. All right, so that was question 1. Question 2, in the Pokemon anime, we're still revolving around Gen 2.
Okay.
Who was the first shiny Pokemon to be seen and sequentially captured?
Oh, and captured?
That's not to say that...
It's the same one?
It is also the same one. That's what I should say. The first shiny Pokemon was also captured. Who was that shiny Pokemon?
Wasn't technically the first shiny Ho-Oh in the first one?
No. It just glistened in the sun and the water.
Okay. It definitely looked kind of shiny, but
But Gen 1 Pokemon shinies didn't exist.
Well, in the anime.
Well, yeah, but still, even in the anime.
So, first shiny. I mean, technically, Butterfree...
Ooh, you're
was
right.
a shiny.
Pink Butterfree was mostly, by today's standards, a shiny.
Yeah.
But
skipping
that Pink Butterfree.
We didn't catch that one. So, man.
Yeah, so Ash runs into a shiny Pokemon in Gen 2. Who does he catch?
Man, I am a terrible Pokemon fan, and I don't remember much of Gen 2. Let me... Is it of gold color?
I can tell you its original color is kind of goldish. Kind of. Not exactly gold. A dull gold. The shiny version includes a red coat.
I am drawing a blank. I have no idea.
Okay.
I'll pass.
It's Noctowl. The first shiny Pokemon was a Noctowl.
Huh. Nope. Would have never got that one.
Yep. And going back to one of our previous Pokemon quizzes, when we were talking about gym leader number 1, Faulkner,
Yeah.
And we thought that like Hoot Hoot or Noctowl might be one of his Pokemon. Like it just seems like it would fit.
Yeah.
Replaying Crystal right now, the reason why that sounds so familiar is because next door is Bellsprout Tower. And the final guy in there has a Hoot Hoot.
Oh, that's what it is.
So you fight all these Bellsprouts and then a random ass Hoot Hoot.
Okay.
So that's why that might ring someone's bell. All right, question 3.
I got to get this one right.
Good luck. I think I might have made this a little hard because I started this question and then I realized there's a lot of it. So in Generation 2, they introduced baby Pokemon. There's 8 of them. Can you name all 8?
Who? All 8? I can already tell you no, but I can probably name quite a few. So we have Togepi.
Mm-hmm.
We have Meryl. I'm drawing a blank on Meryl's baby.
I'm going to tell you right now, Meryl is at the first form, and that's not a baby.
No, there's a baby Meryl, isn't there?
Oh, God, there is, but Gen 3.
Oh, that's Gen 3. Okay.
Azurill.
Yeah, Azurill. Okay, there we go. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, let's stick to Gen 2, everybody.
Yeah, that's going to be super hard. I got the most important one, which is Togepi.
It is the first one that you get. You get that like immediately after getting your first badge.
Is it Cleffa? It's Clefable's.
Yep, Cleffa.
Yep. And then Jigglypuff's baby is Jigglypoof? No, that's not right.
Igglybuff.
There we go. All right, so that's 3 because I'm counting that one. The fact that I remembered it.
Yep, no, I'll give it to you. If you can even remember the base forms, because when I was writing this, I totally forgot about one of them too. So
Pichu.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to. So now I just got to remember Gen 1 Pokemon that we get.
Basically, yeah.
Okay, so...
No, that is kind of the big thing is when I was kind of doing a little bit of research, Togepi is the only baby that got introduced with a line of evolution in Gen 2. So everybody else's adult form is from Gen 1.
Yep. I know Chansey's is later on.
Oh, yeah, that's Gen 3.
And then... So I have 2 more.
4 more.
Oh, there's 8?
There's
oh,
8,
God.
yeah.
Oh, God.
You're 4 out of 8 right now.
Then...
If I give you a hint, it'll probably spark a couple more.
Okay, I know Snorlax's baby Munchlax comes much later.
Yep, that's also Gen 3. Actually, I think that's Gen 4 even.
I'm pretty sure that's Gen 4.
Yeah.
Just like Magmar's baby? Is that...
That's Gen 2.
Oh, that is Gen 2?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so is it Magby?
Yep.
I guess we'll go with Electabuzz's baby as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, Electakid? Is that what it is?
Super duper close. Elekid. But yeah.
Elekid, okay.
2 more.
The crazy part is I'm now that I'm thinking about it, I'm remembering getting these babies too.
Uh-huh. I'll give you a quick hint. In Gen 2, they introduced a 3rd version of this line, and they share a common baby.
That was not a hint. That's fine, but that is not helpful.
All right, what if I say Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan? I don't think they made a 3rd one. Not that I know of.
Tyrogue? Is that what it is?
Tyrogue is the fighting baby.
Okay.
And the last one, I'll give you a hint. This is the one I completely forgot about. The typing is going to be Psychic Ice.
Oh, Jinx's baby. I'm drawing a blank on Jinx's baby's name, though. Smoochum. Okay.
There you go. So, I'm basically going to give you that one. So, there was 8 of them. Shit ton of them. Don't blame you for being slow on that one at all. You named 4 right off the bat. So, you did good on that one.
Well, I'll give myself one whole point out of 3, so I'll take that. That's not too bad, especially because that last one was that's a doozy.
Yeah. The one that sparked that last question was scrolling through Facebook and I saw a reel and there was a Japanese clip of baby Magby and I haven't completely confirmed this yet.
Okay.
But I don't know if it was a nickname or the actual name, but Magby's name is Booby. B-O-O-B. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be B-O-O-B-I, but the subtitles said Booby with a Y. So I thought that was kind of funny.
That is funny.
And clearly I'm playing Crystal again, so I'm dealing with all the babies. So that's what sparked that question.
Well, thank you. That was a lot of fun. One more thing before we go. Let's just do some quick anime talk. Anything you're watching as far as on the side?
I'm catching up now that My Hero is in English, season 7. I'm almost caught up with all that. Having a great time with that.
Yep.
I watched a handful of small things here and there.
Okay.
Oshinoko season 2.
How's that going so far?
It's going. It's good.
Okay.
I like season 1 a lot better because it was so new and fresh.
Okay.
But at this moment of our recording, it's not complete. So I can only say that. It's a slow start. It's still interesting.
Yep.
But I just need more out of it.
Okay.
And Suicide Squad Isekai.
Yep.
Gave that a start. I've neglected the past couple episodes, so I'm not 100% caught up. But
okay.
As a DC fan, I think they're doing a fantastic job with that.
Nice.
I've seen lots of animated DC movies.
Mm-hmm.
Falls right in line with everything there. The fact that this is Isekai related, just perfect marriage between the two. I think this is really great if you're a DC fan.
Nice. Awesome.
Other than that, I've continued reading Kaiju number 8.
Okay. Awesome.
If anybody watched our episode on that season, I covered the manga mentions on that. And that season 1 ended at about chapter 36-ish, 35, 36, 37, somewhere around there. I'm currently at like chapter 52, 53.
Oh, so not you a decent chunk, but not super far.
Right. Today there's currently like 110 chapters.
Yep.
So there's a shit ton of more to go through. But I'm almost like a solid half season, a little bit more into what we should expect next.
Nice.
Having a great time with that. When I actually sit down to read a chapter, fly through these. It's the easiest manga I've ever read,
which isn't saying a whole lot, but yeah.
Yeah, I've only read a small handful. I tried starting Dragon Ball Super's manga.
Okay.
I got decently far in there, but I stopped because of just life.
Yep.
But I'm going to catch up on Kaiju 8, and then whenever I find time, I'll jump back into Dragon Ball Z or Super.
Okay.
So that's my life. Nothing too crazy. I've had a very busy summer.
Yep.
Had a handful of vacations already. I've almost spent no time at home this entire summer.
Yeah, pretty close.
Living in the Midwest when snow is the majority of our year.
Even though you've gone to a snowy place, but yeah.
Yeah, I went to Alaska, but I went there in the summertime. Absolutely beautiful in the summertime.
Yep.
But yeah, just all my vacation is this summer, so I've been taking advantage of it.
And I'll be honest, this summer has been super mild. It's been nice.
Yeah.
You've definitely been enjoying it. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, the weather been fantastic. And to be quite frank, the anime this summer season hasn't been the most exciting. So it's kind of a nice time to, enjoy life.
Yeah, it worked out.
Yep.
Worked out well.
What about you? What's your anime journey?
I have a little peek behind the curtain. I've been insanely busy. I am taking summer classes, so trying to get through my senior year as fast as possible. And it has pretty much consumed my life so far, so I'm super behind on everything.
Yeah, and listeners, when he says senior year, he means college, not high school.
Yeah.
We're not a bunch of high schoolers getting drunk talking about anime.
Yeah, and
not that we weren't, but
with 2 children.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty crazy life.
So yeah, no, senior year of college, and so that has been pretty much my summer so far. It's been insane. I know I have been watching a few things. One thing that I started besides Slime, continuing on that one, it's been season 3. We'll just put it that way. We can go into that when we talk about Slime. No longer allowed in another world. That is actually very funny.
Okay.
Just because I know you haven't seen it. It is basically what would happen if a super emo guy got isekai'd.
Okay.
It is quite entertaining because the guy just keeps talking about dying and suicide and all this other fun stuff.
Okay, I think I've seen memes about this.
You absolutely have, and it's funny.
Okay. Is this a show I can watch while I'm working out? Like, I'm not looking for something to push me, but I just need something of entertainment.
Yeah, you'd be entertained.
Lifting weights.
You'd be entertained.
Okay.
I'm only on episode 3, but I've laughed so much in this. So
okay. If that's the case, I am overdue for a comedy anime.
Yeah, it absolutely is one you need to watch. I'm also watching season 2 of Our Last Crusade or Rise of a New World. I watched season 1. It's basically an anime version of Romeo and Juliet.
Okay.
It's the easiest way to put it.
Sure.
Concept. Romeo and Juliet concept. Not quite the same, but kind of. And then Wistoria, Wistoria, Wand and Sword. That's a fantastic one. That's probably been my favorite one so far this season.
Yep.
It's very well done. Same creator as Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon?
Okay.
So this is that person's other series.
Okay.
So
I saw the first episode. I was very pleased with it.
yeah, it's very good. It continues to stay very good, so I'm looking forward to continuing that one. But yeah, that's really all I'm watching. And then obviously I'm reading My Hero, or was reading My Hero. My Hero is hence been concluded without spoiling anything. For what happened at the end of the season, it all made sense. That this series ended in a way that made sense. We'll put it that way.
Okay, that's good to know. You weren't let down.
It was fine. It was fine. It wrapped it up. Well, we can put it that way.
Okay.
Again, without giving anything away as far as how the series ends, I can say that the end of this season will probably be, there'll probably be only one more season after this one.
Okay.
Season 7, that is. So it'll be interesting how they conclude the series. It is nice that the series is finished and the anime still has a little bit to go, where it didn't like catch up to it too much.
Right.
And currently are continuously reading Jujutsu. Fantastic. So much going on in Jujutsu. Again, without giving anything away. It's been good. I obviously am continuing to read it, so no issues there.
Very nice.
So yeah, I've just been so busy. Like,
yep, totally feel you. We're
you haven't
where I am being busy getting away from everything else, you're being busy in the school world. So
yeah,
we're busy this summer.
Talking 3 to 5 hours a day doing homework. So
gross.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I'm almost done. Spring. This coming spring, I'll be done, and I will have no idea what to do with my free time.
Yeah, right? I know when I quit school, a little behind the curtain, I was going to school full half-time, and I gave up on it. I did some pros and cons, and it wasn't working out for my life.
Yeah.
I found myself with all my free time back, got back to sleeping regularly, going...
What's that
out.
like?
Yeah. Yeah. You're basically a full-time student with kids. I can't imagine your sleep schedule.
My wife is fantastic. We can just put it that way.
Yeah.
She's very helpful. I could not do this without her. We'll put it that way.
Yeah. Very understandable.
So, yeah, I get it. Working full-time and then going to school. I'm going to school 3/4 time.
Mm-hmm.
I know what you mean.
Well, the finish line's in sight. That's all that really matters.
Exactly. And yeah, like you said, finish line's in sight. Spring will get here and I can actually start working out again. It'll be nice.
Yep. Yeah, you're going to love your free time. Right. So that's going to conclude today's episode. Thank you, everybody, for listening to us this far. Please leave us a rating on whatever platform you are listening to us on, because that would help us a lot. Please also make sure to follow the AnimazeShow on Facebook and Instagram. Stay up to date on everything anime related, because they post stuff every single day. And please follow us on YouTube, where we also share our Short Flight series, where Matt and I watch brand new episodes of current seasons and give our thoughts and provoke some questions. So entertain us there too. And until next time, we'll see you then.